most athletes don't realize that their hairstyle can affect the way that they perform, and that each sport should require a different hairstyle. So today, I'm gonna show you the best and most practical hairstyle for every single sport. Starting off with number 1, we have American football. Most football players don't realize that having long hair can be a huge disadvantage. After Dolphins running back Ricky Williams was dragged down twice by his dreads, so the league announced that any hair that falls outside of the helmet is part of the uniform. Plus, it can be a huge health hazard. Amani Toomer had long dreadlocks and stated, "I had a big helmet and when I put it on, it was okay, but then my hair would get wet," he laughed, "and it would mat down a little bit. Then my helmet would get a little play in there and then I would get hit. I ended up with 2 concussions and I had never had a concussion before." So with all that being said, it's best for football players to go with a super short cut like a crew cut or buzz cut. I mean, just look at the current Super Bowl champion Travis Kelce. He's got a nice looking crew cut going on, and come on, my guy's dating Taylor Swift. He's obviously doing something right. Now moving on to sport number 2, we have basketball. So unlike football, you're not gonna be wearing a helmet all game. You'll actually be showing off your hair. So this means you need to make sure it's unique yet practical. The most practical hairstyle for basketball would be something on the shorter side because of aerodynamics. See, with basketball, it's all about speed and agility. So if you're rocking a hairstyle that's super long and messy, this is gonna cause a lot of resistance when you're moving around the court. Plus, when I played basketball back in high school, it was a rule that we couldn't have super long hair in the front or back. And I know that rule is still pretty common today. So what I'd recommend is a short burst fade, which is a fade along the sides and back, and then a bit more heavy and textured on top. Some examples of this that I really like are Devin Booker and Jason Tatum. Now moving on to sport number 3 is baseball. Hey, look, so with baseball, you need to make sure you're nailing your hairstyle down because a bunch of girls like to pull up to baseball games, and it's not because they like baseball. Come on, we all know why. But with baseball, you'll mostly be wearing a hat, which means you'll want to avoid anything with long bangs, because if your bangs are too long, it'll end up getting in your eyes, or if you push your bangs back into your hat, you'll just end up looking like this whenever you take your hat off. So the best hairstyle to rock in baseball is some sort of medium length flow. So I actually want to react to this clip that I found of some baseball players with the flow.
We got the flow. I'm Tanner Thomas. I got the natural straight hair. Shampoo, brush it, hairspray.
Okay, I should say these guys don't know the best hair care tips, but let's move on.
No Bridges, I got the wavy flow. All you really need is a little salt water and sunshine.
I'm Dalton.
Yes, I like what he said right there. Use sea salt spray if you want that wavy flow.
I'm Dalton Malden. I have the curly hair. Really, all you have to do is buzz your head, dye it blonde, and let it grow out.
That looks majestic.
Grow out.
I don't shampoo my hair unless I absolutely have to. So when I'm showering, usually just a rinse, maybe some curl cream. Let's grow.
Like I said, they don't know much about hair care, but hey, all of their hair looked majestic, especially when they had that hat on and you could see the flow in the back, man. Looks clean. Now moving on to sport number 4, we have ice hockey. Ice hockey is very similar to American football when it comes to wearing a helmet all game. However, there is something huge that ice hockey has that football doesn't, and that's the fact that every great hockey player has had some sort of mullet or flow. So if you go with a short hairstyle for hockey, you're basically disrespecting the game of hockey and everyone who's ever played it. That was a little far, but hairstyles like the modern mullet or the flow would be perfect for hockey. And the huge bushy mullets they did used to rock back in the day might be a bit overboard, but if you have a nice flowy hairstyle like Jack Hughes or a nice modern mullet like Patrick Kane, you will fit right in and people will look at you and be like, oh yeah, that guy's a hockey player. Moving on to sport number 5, we have soccer. Or football, I'm American, so I say soccer, you get the point. So soccer is very similar to basketball where you're not gonna be wearing any sort of helmet, so your hair is gonna be fully exposed, so you gotta make sure it's on point. And just like with basketball, aerodynamics is super important. And personally, whenever I see a person rocking a textured crop, it doesn't matter where it is, I automatically think they play soccer because it's just such a soccer look. I can't explain it. I just think it's the perfect cut because it's nice and short on the sides and it's a little heavy on the top with a bunch of texture. And all that texture, man, just makes this hairstyle look amazing. And if you want to get even crazier with it, you can even dye your hair. And I guess the reason I'm saying this is because of Neymar. I know Neymar's dyed his hair a whole bunch of different colors, but I was mainly talking about the blonde. I personally don't think the pink look on him is the greatest, but hey, it's Neymar. He can do whatever he wants. Now moving on to sport number 6 and 7. I'm gonna combine these two sports because they're very similar, and I'm talking about tennis and golf. Whenever I hear tennis and golf, I automatically think old money aesthetic. So that means nothing flashy, super simple cut, but the hairstyle you do decide to rock does depend on your age. So if you're a teenager, in your late teens or in your 20s, I think rocking a middle part is the perfect hairstyle because it's super classy. And if you match it with a polo, like when you're going to golf, man, it just looks so clean. However, if you are above the age of 30, rocking a middle part is kind of for the younger people and you look kind of weird rocking it if you're above 30. So what I'd recommend for the people older than 30 is to rock a side part because this honestly gives off the exact same vibe as the middle part. Just super classy. And when you pair that with a polo and a nice pair of shades, you just can't get any better than that. Now moving on to sport number 8 is boxing. So in my opinion, boxing is the most masculine, most manly sport out there. So nothing is more masculine than a nice beard and either a shaved head or a buzz cut. I'm just being honest. I mean, look at my guy Tyson Fury. I'm not messing with the heavyweight champ. Now, this dude would be intimidating even if he had hair, but the fact he's bald just makes it somehow scarier. Man, he won the boxing match before the match even started. Moving on to sport number 9, we have swimming. And with swimming, you need to be extremely careful because those pools that you're swimming in have a ton of chlorine, which will kill your hair. So my suggestion is if you have longer hair and you really want to keep it, you don't want to shave your head, wear a cap. Because if you don't and you have hair still, it's gonna get super dry and super damp. So you can probably see where I'm going with this. I suggest a clean shaven head. And I know a lot of swimmers already do this. Like I remember the guys on my swim team in high school, they all shaved their head. And now I totally see why. And I thought it was kind of stupid back then, but now I totally understand. That chlorine is gonna kill your hair. Wear a cap. Now on to sport number 10, we have wrestling. Now with wrestling, look, I've had friends who've done wrestling, and one of my friends was trying to cut weight to get into the specific weight class, and he would do literally anything to lose weight, including shaving his head. Yes, he shaved his head just to lose that little bit of weight. So if you're like him and you really need to drop down that weight, then I'd suggest to go with a clean shaven look or a buzz cut. But if you're someone who's trying to get to that weight class that's above your current weight, then maybe you could go with the longer hair or maybe even a mullet. Something big and bushy to get your weight up. And now you know the best and most practical hairstyle for every single sport. So you can now pick out the sport you play, get that haircut, and now your performance is gonna be top tier.